Hello and welcome viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Mai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV 365 and Star Times channel 276 and 4. President Bola Tinubu has permanently abolished the controversial 5% exercise duty on telecommunication services, a move easing financial pressures on consumers and businesses in Nigeria's digital. The announcement was made by the Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, Aminu Maida, during a media briefing in Abuja. Maida confirmed that the exercise levy, initially suspended in 2023, has now been officially removed under reverse national tax laws. In a move to tackle personnel water scarcity in part of the territory, the federal government, in partnership with the FCTA, has flagged off the water supply project. The initiative under the Renewed Hope agenda, lasting solutions to residents of Buhari and the surrounding community. Kabir Hassan reports.
For decades, Buhari residents have struggled with unreliable access to clean water. At the flag-off ceremony, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike said the project underscores President Bola Tinubu's to extending essential services beyond Abuja city center. He assured that with 50% of funding already released, the project will not be abandoned. Wike also emphasizes that all satellite towns in FCT will benefit from similar efforts to expand clean water access.
Now, the company has told you here, of course, this will stop you digging your own boreholes, providing of tanks and the rest. All you need to do is to just link up to the general district, and then the water will flow. Clean water, treated water. Unlike the one we do in our boreholes, not treated. This is fully treated water. This will provide jobs for our teeming youths. At least not less than 1,600 direct and indirect employment.
Minister of State for the FCT, Maria Mahmoud Bonkore, noted that the project goes beyond infrastructure, stressing that reliable water supply will improve health, education, and economic opportunities for residents. She commended the president for backing a vision that directly touches lives.
I want to say that this project is beyond laying pipes and putting tanks. It is about mothers fetching clean and safe water without fear, children growing healthier, and also families living with dignity.
Representative of the contracting firm pledges to deliver quality water within schedule, assuring the facility will serve as a model for future water projects across the FCT.
This project is designed 192-kilometer pipeline network and serving more than 500,000 Buhari local people.
With the flag of the Lotu Buhari Township Water Supply Project, residents of Buhari and neighboring communities are expected to soon enjoy a steady supply of clean and safer water. Kabir Hassan, Global TV News.
The resident electoral commissioner of the Federal Capital Territory, Aminu Idris, has urged residents to take advantage of the ongoing online continuous voter registration exercise ahead of the FEC Area Council election slated for February 2026. Over now to Topsy Gimba's report.
Appearing as a guest on Face the Fact, a news and current affairs program in Abuja, the FCT resident electoral commissioner Aminu Idris described the response to the online continuous voter registration as impressive. According to him, many Nigerians who recently turned 18 should embrace the opportunity on the very first day of the exercise. Idris expressed confidence that the exercise in the FCT will also record great success.
We have started the process. I think it's going to be done in phases. The commission announced it to be phase 1 will start from 18th August to 10th December 2025. That's the phase 1. After the phase 1, there will be a display for people to come and check whether the names, their age, and everything is captured properly. and then of course the cards will be produced for that one.
He warned against multiple registrations, noting that the system has built-in checks to detect and nullify such attempts, describing them as efforts in futility.
We start slow with this type of process. As we're getting to the terminal dates, people all come out. It is normal. We have experienced this so many times. The turnout usually increases as you get to the end of the period provided for the exercise.
Yes.
So we expect that and we are planning for that.
Now,
The resident electoral commissioner also assured Global Televisions of INEC's continued partnership in ensuring electoral messages reach the grassroots. Topsy Gimba, Global Television News.
In a related development, Kano State Government has approved the formation of a mobilization task force on voter registration to encourage citizens to participate fully in the ongoing voter registration exercise. The announcement was made in a statement released by Musa Tanko Mohammed, Press Secretary to the Office of the Secretary to the State Government. The State Government noted that the task force will be formally inaugurated by the Secretary to the State Government at a later date and is to be chaired by the State Commissioner for Information and Internal Affairs, Ibrahim Waya. Proper sanitation and environmental hygiene have been identified as crucial factors in preventing the spread of Lassa fever. Dr. Aisha Ladan Musa of the Federal Medical Center, Abuja, who made this known in an exclusive interview with Global Television, emphasized that the best protection remains simple, hygiene and public awareness. Our correspondent Zara Nasir has details.
Lassa fever is an acute viral illness and hemorrhagic fever caused by the Lassa virus. It is endemic to parts of West Africa, particularly Nigeria, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. The virus is primarily transmitted to human contact with the urine or feces of infected multi-mammals or through direct contact with an infected person's bodily fluids. Dr. Aisha Ladan Musa of Federal Medical Center, Abuja, explained that raising community awareness and educating people on how the disease is transmitted remains essential strategies in reducing infections. The doctor said the greatest knowledge is knowing how to prevent Lassa fever, not just how to cure it.
The prevention goes beyond we individual. It starts from awareness. Okay, so the most important thing in Lassa fever is community awareness. We have to inform educate the people on mode of transmission, the causal organism, and how it is transmitted from one to another. Because the greatest knowledge is how to prevent, is not how to cure. Yes, so as outside that, also environmental and environmental factors also play a role, like sanitation.
In Abuja, some residents said they are already taking preventive measures by covering their food, maintaining good hygiene, and keeping rats away from their homes.
I know Lassa fever is a disease that causes harm to the human immune system. By making sure you're staying in a clean environment, because it's been transmitted by rats. So if you are living in an environment that is very dirty, they would easily have access to your environment, and then they would easily...
I know it's a disease caused by rodents that comes out of rats, and it's related from the rat class. Avoiding deaths, because they come around deaths, they come, and when the time they also come around, they feed on your food that you keep in your kitchen or wherever on your dining, and then you also have to also protect yourself from your dispenser.
I know it's one of the deadly fever that keep people fast, and I know it's introduced from rats, and not keeping our food very well, not coming food stuff or other things.
Public health issues pose a huge challenge in Nigeria, with more pressure on the country's already overstretched healthcare systems. However, the outbreak of Lassa fever has further complicated the situation. Zahra Nasir, reporting Global TV News.
Tension gripped Katsina State as angry youths and residents of Ongwa Muntao community situated between Mulumfashi and Bukuri took to the streets in protest following the killing of 13 worshippers by suspected armed bandits. The protesters in their hundreds blocked the busy Mulifashi-Funtao highway, a major route linking Kano to Funtua, Gusau and Sokoto, leaving motorists and commuters stranded for hours. The demonstrators later spread into Mulifashi town, causing a total gridlock and forcing many travelers to abandon their journeys. Eyewitnesses say the tragic incident occurred in the early hours of Tuesday when bandits stormed Ongwamuntao during the dawn prayer. According to a resident, Abubakar, who nearly escaped, the attackers opened fire on worshippers inside the mosque without provocation. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Olufemi Oloyede, says the various challenges facing soldiers will be addressed squarely. He noted that with the support of the President Bola Tinubu-led federal government, concerted efforts are on to make life better for the soldiers and the families. Oloyede stated this while answering questions from newsmen at the end of the three-day visit to the headquarters of the Nigerian Army 6th Division, Port Harcourt, River State. Hundreds of rice farmers in Yeri, Nkoski and Janka local government area of Kebbi State have been drawn into despair following devastating flood that washed away farmlands worth millions of naira. The flood, triggered by an overflow of the river Niger coupled with heavy rainfall, was submerged vast hectares of rice fields, dashing the hopes of farmers who had invested heavily in anticipation of a bumper harvest. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says his administration remains committed to delivering quality infrastructure. The governor gave the assurance while inspecting key projects in Owerri, including Concord Hilton Hotel, Emmanuel Wanyanwu International Conference Center, and the Assumpta flyover. Imo State correspondent Amarachi Ibe completes the story.
At the Concord Hilton Hotel, Governor Uzodinma noted that reconstruction work is already transforming the facility into a modern hospitality landmark. He stressed that the project, once completed, will significantly raise hospitality standards in the state.
I'm almost sure that before the month of November, the hotel will be ready for servicing and open to the public, which to me is a very big achievement because Imo people are very happy and excited with the recovery of this facility and what is more, attracting a world-class chain like Hilton Hotels to manage the hotel. I think it is okay.
The governor also visited the Emmanuel Wanyanwu International Conference Center and the Assumpta flyover. He highlighted milestones achieved at the conference center and pointed to the steady progress on the flyover superstructure, drainage and access road. He applauded contractors for maintaining both quality and timelines.
The center is world class. You also you saw for yourself the quality of construction demonstrated at the flyover at Assumpta roundabout. So, and what is more, that the job is being completed within record time is also very encouraging. We will do more. We need to recover and address all the infrastructural gaps that exist in Imo State so that we can have a very robust economy that will really lead to prosperity we appreciate.
Governor Uzodinma appreciates the sustained support from the federal government, saying that Imo State is on a course to witness a new phase of development, thereby improving lives of its residents. From Owerri, Amarachi Ibe reporting for Global TV News.
You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, monsoon rains kill over 400 in Pakistan, sweep away villages. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business stories now, procurement delay, worsening insecurity, and raising costs of goods and services have emerged as major reasons several state governments failed to meet their capital expenditure target in the first 6 months of 2025. Findings from state second quarter budget implementation reports indicates that capital spending across many states remains significantly below expectations, despite ambiguous budgetary provisions designed to accelerate infrastructure growth. A fresh breakdown of state government expenditure between January and June 2025 shows that 31 states collectively dispersed 2.75 trillion naira for capital projects. Asian markets were mixed in the face of worrying signs for Japanese exports as investors await signals from U.S. policymakers of an interest rate cut in the world's largest economy. Traders have also been watching the recent diplomatic whirlwind to resolve the protracted war in Ukraine after President Donald Trump's high-stakes meeting with Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin in Alaska. Eyes are now on potential face-to-face talks between Putin and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, who has said he is ready for such a meeting. Reports in a publication by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission indicate that over 3.5 billion barrels of oil and condensate reserves are locked in undeveloped fields across different basins in Nigeria. At the current average price of $65 per barrel, the reserves are valued at about $127.5 billion, translating to a staggering 341.25 trillion naira when converted at the exchange rate of 1,500 naira to a dollar. The 2025 budget has a deficit of over 13 trillion naira. The fiscal plan makes provisions for 13.64 trillion naira in recurrent expenditure, 23.96 trillion naira for capital projects, 14.32 trillion naira for debt servicing, and 3.65 trillion for statutory transfers. And on the foreign news, more than 20 people have died in a torrential spell of monsoon rain in Pakistan, where downpours have swept away entire villages over the last week, killing more than 400. The National Disaster Management Authority says 11 people died in the touristic northern region of Gilgit-Baltistan and 10 others in Karachi, in the financial capital in the south. Due to urban flooding, the caused house collapses and electrocution, schools remain closed in the city of more than 20 million as the Meteorological Department predicted more rain till Saturday. Russia has launched a fresh board side of Europe's handling of the Ukrainian conflict. Moscow top diplomat Sergei Lavrov used European leaders to present constructive ideas in a high-level meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky earlier this week. Over now to Mukhtar Kasim's report.
The Brussels summit brought together key European heads of state who had hoped to win Trump's backing for tougher action against Moscow. But the Russian foreign minister dismissed those efforts as little more than political theater. Lavrov accused European governments of prioritizing pressure campaigns over meaningful diplomacy. He said the talks showed Europe was more interested in aligning Washington with its position than in finding real solution to the fighting.
Здесь мы пока видим только достаточно агрессивное нагнетание обстановки, достаточно неуклюжие и, в общем-то, такие неэтичные попытки изменить позицию администрации Трампа и лично президента Соединенных Штатов, как мы это наблюдали во время сопровождения европейцами господина Зеленского в Вашингтон, вот, в понедельник на этой неделе, мы там не услышали никаких конструктивных идей из уст европейцев.
Lavrov's sharp words underline a growing diplomatic rift. While Europe insists unity with Washington is vital to counter Russian aggression, Moscow claims Western leaders are unwilling to address its own security concerns. Analysts say the remarks reflect a long-standing Kremlin strategy, portraying Europe as divided, weak, and overly dependent on the United States. It is a narrative Russia hopes will undermine Western solidarity as the war drags on. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global Television News.
Beijing says significant progress has been made in efforts to resolve the conflict between the Democratic Republic of Congo and M23 rebels. During his visit to Kinshasa, the Congolese capital, Beijing's foreign affairs minister highlighted the lack of progress in peace process between M23 armed group and the Democratic Republic of Congo, which he noted is devastating the eastern part of the country. Mediator Qatar says Democratic Republic of Congo and the M23 militia have not backed out of their peace process despite meeting a deadline for an agreement. Uyi Agbomofuegbe completes the story.
The Congolese government and the Rwanda-backed M23 had signed a ceasefire agreement in July aimed at leading to a permanent end to the fighting that has devastated the DRC's mineral-rich but conflict-torn east. Under the terms of the deal, which followed talks in Qatar, the parties were to begin peace talks on August 8 and finalize an agreement by August 18. However, neighboring Rwanda denies providing military backing to the M23 rebel group. But United Nations experts say the Rwanda army played a critical role in the group's offensive, including combat operations. Uyi Agbomofuegbe reporting for Global TV News.
Sports stories now. As AS Roma signed Jamaican international winger Leon Burley on loan from Aston Villa, the Serie A club said. In a statement, Roma said they have an option to make Bailey's one-year loan move permanent, reportedly for a fee of 22 million euros, $25.6 million, 19 million euro. Bailey, 28, arrives in Italy after 4 years at Aston Villa, where he scored 22 goals in 144 appearances. Philomeni's goalkeeper Fabio Marcel has claimed the record for most competitive appearance in men's football when the Brazilian played for 1,391 time. The 44-year-old on Saturday equaled the landmark held by former England stopper Peter Shilton, and Fabio have now gone one better, following a 2-0 win over Colombia's American De Chile at the Maracena in Rio de Janeiro. Over now to World Wrestling Entertainment's WWE superstar Naomi Trinity Fatel, a two-time women's world champion famed for her field, the Glue, has announced she's expecting her first child with husband Jimmy Uso. The couple have been together for over a decade. They're married since 2014, shared the news during the Night Raw in August 2025. The Philadelphia crowd erupted as Naomi placed her Women's World Championship belt in the ring, confirming she would relinquish the title due to her pregnancy. As Global TV AM News comes to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. In a move to tackle personal water scarcity in parts of the Federal Capital Territory, the federal government, in partnership with FCTA, has flagged off the Lot 1 Buari Township Water Supply Project. In business, Asian markets were mixed in the face of worrying signs of Japanese exports as investors await signals from U.S. policymakers of an investment rate cut in the world's largest economy. And on the foreign scene, Russia has launched a fresh broadside of Europeans' handling of the Ukrainian conflict. Moscow top diplomat Sergei Lavrov accused European leaders of failing to present consecutive ideas during a high-level meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky earlier this week. And finally, in sport, AS Roma have signed German international winger Leon Bailey on loan from Aston Villa, the Serie A club said. And that's it on Global TV AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good morning. Up next is Global Morning. Stay tuned.
is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
To protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
A very good morning to you. Thank you everyone for joining us here on Global Television as you do every other day, especially when we come your way during breakfast time like this here on Global Morning. I'm Uyag Mofwegwe. Again, today presents a great opportunity for us to take a look at some of the biggest issues and have conversations around them, whether they're local or even beyond the shores of our country. A man you have missed for, well, let's just say for a couple of days, really, is back on the show now. I don't know how we're going to announce his arrival. Of course, no red carpet. We're not popping anything. No sirens or blowing of horns and all that. But it's good to know that Ramsey Agbo is back on the show.
I had to put on a red tie because it's too early. There won't be a red carpet. So I had to put on a red
as an alternative.
Tie as an alternative. It's so good to be with you on Global Morning today. You have said it already. It promised to be a great time, and we are here. You know how it happens on Global Morning. Everything you need is packaged in this program for you this morning to help you get your day started on a beautiful note. Many thanks for joining us on Global Morning today.
Yeah, great. As always, we have a couple of issues lined up in front of us today, which we will be sharing with you, certainly. One of them is basically something that borders on election and how we probably should take another look at the way we conduct our polls in this case, whether it's the general election or off-cycle polls here in Nigeria. And then the second issue is one that many persons will tell you is even of far more importance, which has to do with the teaching profession and the need to bridge the gap between it and digital skill. Of course, we're seeing governments across board, federal and the subnationals, making efforts, in some cases, genuine, sincere efforts to ensure that teachers are digitally skilled. But today, again, that's a conversation around C&I will be having on the program.
That's true. Well, this is very important. You can't take that away because sometimes we talk about the educational sector and a lot of people look at the government alone, but they don't look at the individuals have to play to support this system, you know, because this is something that benefits us. We're working towards a better future, a better tomorrow, and all of these things will make us stay relevant in our professions. But how many people are willing to pay the price? So these are some of the issues around digital skill in Nigeria. I could remember there was a time I had the opportunity with some other colleagues working with Google, alongside with Google, to train secondary school teachers in a particular state in Nigeria. And it will amaze you to know that some of these teachers don't know what a browser is. The only thing they do with their phone is call and text messages, So to that extent, you begin to ask questions. Do they do research? How do they teach? How do they communicate? How do they relate with other people in same profession from other countries? All these things pose some form of challenges to the teaching profession. I think bridging the gap is very important. But then, do we have what it takes? Are the people ready? Because it's not rice and beans, as they say, but then it's very easy. And this is a digital world. If you want to be relevant in your profession, in what you do, these are things you can't do away without, whether you like it or not, because it's here, and it has come to stay.
Right. The world has gone digital, and the need for the teaching profession to also be digitalized cannot be overemphasized. This is where we're taking a break, everyone. When we return, we'll put conversations in front of you. Do stay with us. One of our big conversations on the program today, everyone, is to look at the election of this past weekend, especially the one in Edo State. Edo State is a bit peculiar because what you had were two by-elections. One is Edo Central Senatorial District. Now, for perspective, that is where you had Senator Monday Okpebholo, who had to vacate their seat to become the governor of Edo State. So that left a vacuum. The other is Oriomo, I should say, Ovia West and Ovia Southwest and Ovia Northeast House of Representatives seats, which was left by Honorable Dennis Idahosa, because he also wanted to run with Senator Monday Okpebholo as a deputy governorship candidate. Now today the rest is history, because by September of last year, the duo won the election, and by November last year too, they were sworn into office. So there had been those two seats being vacant. On account of this by-election of just, about 5 days ago, those seats have now been filled. Of course, the results are in. We know those who won those two different seats now. The difference between Edo State and a few other states where these elections held is the fact that both of them were National Assembly seats. That's number one. Number two is that the outcome of this election has reset the political landscape in the states, in the sense that the entire time, the person who was in that senatorial district, representing that federal House of Representatives seat, was in the APC, in the person of Dennis Idahosa. And before him was a PDP member, former PDP member as it stands now, talking about Honorable Gabriela Omosede Igbinedion, who was in the PDP, all right? But today, we know that Honorable Igbinedion had decamped to the APC. So that federal constituency continues to be under the leadership of the APC. So both of them, Edo Central Senatorial District and Ovia Northeast, Ovia Southwest federal constituency, have now returned to the APC. What does this mean for the politics of Edo State, especially now that the conversation around the 2027 general election is big across board? I know Ramsey followed the election across the country. 12 states, 16 constituencies and all of that. But today, the rest is history. Results are in. Politicians and political parties are saying we were rigged out. Others are saying, well, we told you we were going to win, and today we've been vindicated. The people love us, they give us their votes, and so on and so forth. Of course, you and I are not strangers to all of this.
Well, I was talking to someone. I said, I am still waiting for that time when election will be conducted in Nigeria and there will be no complaint.
Right.
You and I were saying something behind closed doors before we came up on air when we were talking about the fact that Nigerian politicians hardly celebrate with their counterparts, whether or not they are doing well. And this is because of opposition. And the understanding of opposition that some politicians have is not really what it is supposed to be in the real sense of it. If you contest and you win, there must be a winner. There must be a winner. Okay, so if you contest and you win, like in some developed worlds, we heard of people who contested more than one time. Contest, they do it and do it again until they got there. Some now made it. But then they still supported the system because they believe it's not all about them, but it's all about the people. The by-election in Edo State, there are complaints coming, which is accredited to Beavers. You know, the complaint coming. That of Ovia constituency, as it is right now, Benedion has taken it. Some other persons will tell you, hey, he took it because he had to join the ruling party. And if you look at what is happening in Edo State, as it has to do with APC and PDP. Before now, it's APC and PDP. But in this election, we all saw ADC trying to bring out its head, which is normal. And this is the only way they can let Nigerians know that they have come to join the race. Before now, I don't think people heard of ADC that much.
That's right.
But then, after the coalition, people are beginning to hear of ADC. Now, the election is done and dusted. Maybe some persons might still want to feed some lawyers, some judges, as it has been. But then,
the legal option.
The legal option. That's why I started by saying most politicians don't accept defeat in this part of the world. But then, no matter what happens, I think the election in Edo State, there are complaints coming from there. The tribunal can look at it if they so desire. But then, I think it's high time we begin to think more about the people and consider the time. You know, this is how it happens. That time that the case is in court, I don't know. Me, I look at it as a distraction.
Waste of human resources.
Yes, you must see. The truth is this: you must put in resources, whether you like it or not. Whether you are the true winner, whether you are the offender or offended or whatever it is. Resources will have to go. Why not rechannel these resources? If you so love the people, it has happened, it has happened. At the end of the day, you still go to court. The thing may not still end in your favor. So, well, since the conversation will be coming up much later, I think we can peg it at a time.
The second issue that gives most of us concern is that of the teaching profession and the need to go digital in these regards. I mean, Ramsey, you and I know this is 25 years into a new millennium. There are some kinds of conversation we ought not to be having,
That's true.
Like you said, it's not rocket science. We can go digital if we want to. All we need is the willpower. But since some nationals, I mean state governments, that have taken bold steps in this regard, they have said to themselves, look, one of our areas of priorities, or one thing we're very resolved about, is to redefine education. We must reshape the way teaching is done in terms of methodology and how we wire technology into that process, all right? The way people were taught 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50 years ago, is not the same way they are taught today, for example, all right? There was a time everywhere across this country, the only thing you had would be white chalk, blackboard, white chalk, blackboard. Today, all of that has changed. I mean,
we have a smart board now.
I haven't seen a blackboard in years. I mean, literally in years, I've not seen a blackboard.
Don't you think we still have them in the hinterlands?
It's possible, but the question is how many times we go to the hinterland again, which spotlights some of the challenges we're going to be discussing on the program today. All right, we must move with the time.
That's
we're not saying everybody should now become. I mean, we should turn Nigeria into a Silicon Valley overnight. We're saying that we can understand how the world is thinking about education, how the world is introducing technology to drive critical sectors, agriculture, education, health, even the media, for example. All right. So in the case of teaching, that's former governor of Edo, Obaseki, had set that example in a way that is brilliant and very sterling. We've seen Lagos do that. We've seen a few other states. I think Kaduna was also doing that one time a few years ago. But the question is, do we even sustain these efforts over time? Because let's be clear, it is taxpayers' monies that are invested in this process. In the case of Edo that I mentioned a while, under the leadership of the former governor Obaseki, we were told that some $75 million of World Bank loan had been secured to ensure that you drive education. So that was when you started hearing things like Edo Best. The goal was to bring impeccable excellence into the way teaching public schools, all right, primary, secondary, and all of that. But the question is, how much did we achieve within that period in light of that vision? And did we take it beyond that point after he left office? Is Governor Okpebholo pursuing or continue to pursue the same ambition, like you said, in the overall interests of the people? So until politicians begin to think about the people, there's going to be this, if you like, cycle of having conversations about things that should be behind us already. Finally, look at a place like the US. You hear things like, for the love of country. There are some things you want to do for selfish interests, personal aggrandizement, but you put it side by side, public interests, all right? Interest of the people, love for country. And then the next thing you know is you make a decision ultimately in the overall interest of the country. So until we have that, which is what we refer to as patriotism, which politicians sing about all night, but almost never show example about, and then we're just going to be stuck in the woods.
Well, I think you've said it all. You've said it all. If we must get there, we need to do something here first, because it's a rocket science. We can't fly into it. It's a process, and the process has to be followed. Number one, priority. If we prioritize this education and be proud of our profession and are ready to make Nigeria be able to compete with the global world, then these are things we must not even negotiate on. Just do it. We need to do it. See, one thing is this. We've heard of how our students here go out there and they come back with first class. It's because, first of all, you need to ask questions. What's wrong? What are they doing differently? Why are these people always interested in going to study abroad? We keep complaining of Japa. But then, what are we doing back at home to make the educational sector juicy enough for people to stay back to study? These are the basic things. Do you know that some people back their degrees just studying online? Just online. Some people do their masters online. You are in Nigeria, you are studying abroad. How is this possible if you are not digitally inclined? So these are some of the basic things. Kudos to NILDA. They are trying their best, as it has to do with ICT, technology, and all of that, the development of these things. But I think more resources need to be channeled into this area, because if we teach the youths, people in school, especially in public school, while you were speaking, something came to my mind. I just said in my mind, oh God, when is that time going to be that our public schools will be able to compete with the private schools in this country? Because this is the prayer of every average Nigerian, because everyone cannot afford the private institutions. But then, if there is this competition between private schools and, of course, public schools, with this acquisition of digital study materials, you're talking about the smart board and all of that, it will go a long way to boost the educational sector. So, well, let's just look at the possibility of that. We are optimistic and we are patriotic Nigerians, and we are ready to do everything to educate Nigerians, give them necessary information of how this thing become a reality and not a dream anymore.
Right. Ramsey is saying let's move beyond dreaming and go into the realm of reality. Well, we are realistic enough to take a break at this point, and we'll return, we'll bring you big headlines from across our national newspapers. Do stay with us. All right, thank you, everyone. Ramsey and I will spend the next 18 minutes walking you through our papers this morning. But let's begin with the New Telegraph newspaper for you. Both the name master of it, we have a headline here that says 2026 budget. Federal government wants MDAs, that is ministries, departments, and agencies against adding fictitious employees in overhead. The only thing ringing a bell in my head now is ghost workers. But we don't want to ghost.
There have been these screenings.
Right. I've been hearing.
Are they still existing after the several screenings that they did in the past?
They probably still do. We don't get to know until a new government comes to office or it's close to election year, and they start hearing, let's do verification.
Let's do verification.
We just remove 6,500 ghost workers from the payroll and things like that. I've been hearing verification since I was in Payne Primary School, so let's not start conversation this way. But again, it is what it is now. We have to do what we have to do, all right? We'll move on now. Augusto, that's right. It says Nigerian banks' assets to hit 242.3 trillion naira by year end. A bit further down, NAMA to overhaul Nigeria's airspace 25 years after. ABBA heads FIR Audit Committee. We are determined to make our refineries work and embrace sustainable solutions. So Julari, that's the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited. They're talking. Ladoja to be crowned 44th Olubadan, September 26. And then there is one more here. Says Israel calls up 60,000 reservists ahead planned Gaza City offensive. Even though we hear that few talks around the ceasefire, Hamas, we understand, has confirmed receipt of the new truce proposal. We're also understanding that this proposal, the new one, is pretty much the same thing as the previous one. But how will Israel move in this regard is left to be seen, even though we're hearing that the Israeli authorities are calling up 60,000 reservists ahead of its intention to launch an offensive in Gaza City. That takes us to the Star headline this morning. TCAD 9, Tinubu demands 2 permanent UN Security Council seats for Africa. Moves to address root causes of insecurity in Nigeria. Japanese PM pledges $5.5 billion for continent in collaboration with African Development Bank. 2 headlines on the left, or I should say, of the page of the New Telegraph this morning. PDP asks courts to sack 4 Osun lawmakers over defection. Proliferation of special forces not healthy for national security. Colonel Usman. Reps summons arrest someone 11 discos over 2.6 trillion naira debt to Federation accounts. I mean, that means that the House of Representatives, someone saying, well, all the 11 discos, all of them, because we have 11 of them, the idea is to discuss 2.6 trillion naira debt to Federation accounts. Kassina Mosque attack, death toll rises to 32. One sad incident we brought to you in the course of our news broadcasts yesterday. Sokoto boat accidents, over 20 still missing as NEMA concludes search rescue operation. PSC approves promotion of 952 SPs to DSPs, says 176 others declined. You'll find those details on pages 2, 5, and B6. Lastly, my favorite, omega fatty acids can protect against Alzheimer's. That's according to a study which you can read up on page 27 of the New Telegraph. Go get details for yourself, everyone, as we flip things over to the Blueprint newspaper now.
All right, let's quickly look at the Blueprint newspaper this morning and see what the headlines are saying. On the Blueprint newspaper, Ladoja to be installed 44th Olubadan, September 26. Then from the business world, Jais Bank crosses 1 trillion naira threshold, attributes performance to public confidence. And this one is coming from the world of sports. Afro basketball is the kicker. Senegal sent D Tigers packing Angola. This is the kicker. Nigeria's focus at Decade 9 strategic engagement, not trade expo. President is the one saying that. And of course, now to the star story on the Blueprint newspaper. With 58.9 million offensive content, federal government shuts down over 13 million social media accounts. All right. Reviews 794,629 registered complaints. Removes, re-uploads 420,439 contents. Wow. I never knew of this. Well, I think details of this probably you'll be getting from the social media, social boss or social boss extra. But then I don't know the department saddled with this responsibility. Offensive monitoring offensive with the Cyber Act is fully enforced, and a lot of people are facing some form of judgment right now as we speak. But I am thinking more orientation needs to be done. Right. Some people still don't know. I was going through a piece and it was said if you are in a group or maybe there's a WhatsApp group or any group that you are the admin and anyone posts anything on that platform that is offensive or that has maybe angered anyone on the platform, legal action can be taken against you, the owner of that group, the platform. These are things that a lot of people don't know. Some persons just go on social media and they attack people anyhow. I know of someone who I think I just got a bail, just got bailed, was it yesterday or day before, because of this attack on social media and all of that. As it's been said, I haven't really investigated the situation, so I don't really know much about it. So what are we trying to say? We are trying to let you know that whatever you're posting on social media, make sure you don't infringe on other users or any other person, because there is an act now that regulates social media. You can see how 59.9 million offensive content were removed by the federal government on social media. All right. Now to the next story. Illegal mining fueling banditry cost Nigeria $9 billion annually. This is coming from the police. These are some of the things that we should be talking about. banditry,
Right.
illegal mining. Number one, who are doing this illegal mining? Majority foreigners. Some big security operative person has told us on one of our programs that there are some very big men in quotes in this country that do this illegal mining.
Right.
Of course, that has fueled banditry in the country. It says powerful Nigerians use foreigners as fronts. All right, that's one of the riders. The second rider says mining marshals shore up sector's revenue by 32 billion naira, according to Commander. Then some few other headlines here. This one says, police rescue 20 Ghanaian. Right here. This one says, Nigerian pidgin English, not a global lingua. All right. That's the size of the headlines from the Blueprints newspaper this morning.
All right, so time to move on now to look at a different paper altogether for you, and this time turns out to be the Nigerian News Direct's paper. We begin with the two headlines above the nameplate. Top left corner first has a picture of former governor of Ogun State, Otumba Gbenga Daniel. It says, Gbenga Daniel kicks as Ogun APC suspends embattled senator. Well, we move on to other things now. Makinde approves Ladoja as 44th Olubadan, set for installation September 26. Mixed reactions trail Tinubu's Japan visit. Two riders here say as Nigerians decry empty booth at summit. How can we have empty booth at the summit? Japan pledges $5.5 billion fund to Africa. All right, then we go down a little further. 12 says T2 launches first ever KYC SIM registration for Nigerians. Rearrest me, Sam Larry, others over Mohbad's death. Naira Marley death police demands fresh probe to clear lingering doubts. This has gone viral now. We understand that Naira Marley has been speaking up about this issue regarding the death of artists who used to be on his own record label, Mohbad. That's for the police to do. Federal government's code enforces removal of 58 million social media posts in 2024. Google, Microsoft, TikTok lead compliance. Compliance is quite a challenging thing to do, all right, but then we've got to do what we've got to do. Those are your headlines from the Nigerian News Direct this morning. Ramsey will walk us through the Daily Trust newspaper.
All right, quickly, let's get to the Daily Trust newspaper and see what we have on the Daily Trust newspaper. From the Daily Trust newspaper, directly below the nameplate, 7,000 Nigerians stranded in Libya. That's for that. Tourists stranded as drivers block Abuja-Lokoja road. What's the problem? Did you copy of the Daily Trust to know what the problem is? 15 farmers killed in fresh Plateau attack. And now to the big story, wedding guest killing. You remember that story. Victims' families kick as suspects get bail. All right. Now, 70,000 Naira minimum wage can't lift Nigerians out of poverty. U.S. report is the one saying that. It's obvious. Federal government approves 12,000 Naira for kidney dialysis in 11 hospitals in Nigeria. Now, African journalists condemn Palestinian counterparts killing in Gaza. The government killed 4 family members in Birnin Gwari. And details of that you can find on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper as we move ahead to the next paper.
Okay, well, let's take a look at that for you real quick. Away from the Daily Trust newspaper, now the Punch is where we turn to next. Above the nameplate, top right corner, it says PFAs channel 62% of workers' pensions into government funds, that is pensions funds administrators. They're said to be channeling 62% of workers' pensions into government bonds. Recapitalization, banks to gain extra 900 billion naira capital in 2025. Sounds like a good outcome for the banking sector. Kasina Mosque terror attack, death toll hit 32. Then there is one adjacent to the nameplate of the Punch this morning. Says Royal Rao Alaafin may publish Supreme Court ruling after 48-hour ultimatum. Okay, let's look at the big one for you. 2027 show now. Wike Makinde Rift threatens high-stakes PDP convention. They say when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Hopefully the PDP doesn't become the proverbial grass in this case. The writer says PDP vows tough action as Wike associates move against convention. NEC members kick. Decade 9, Japanese PM pledges $5.5 billion support for Nigeria orders. The Japanese authorities say it's basically for countries on the African continent. Olubadan coronation for September 26 as Makinde visits Ladoja. 179 ASPs disqualified as police promotes 952 officers. NBA reports Adeleke demands FG unbroke Ocean's allocation. All right, so go read up details for yourself. Let's go to the Daily Times newspaper now.
On the Daily Times newspaper this morning, we have quite a couple of headlines there. And the first one that will be taken above the nameplate says Fulani militia sack occupy 10 plateau communities. Group alleges. Details on page 6. And this one says NAMA commences first audit of Nigerian airspace. Details read on page 9. Court orders freezing of JAIS bank accounts linked to former NNPCL GMD carry. Frequent amendments to PIA create anxiety. Sky Oil investors, this is coming from Pengason. Nigeria depends $25 billion gas network as Africa confronts $170 billion infrastructure gap. TICA 9, that's the kicker. Tinubu in Tokyo for strategic engagement, not trade expo presidency. Tinubu in Tokyo for strategic engagement, not trade expo. And this one says PSC approves promotion of 952 ASPs to DSPs. Discovers 176 retirees on list. And the big story on the Daily Trust newspaper says ADC rejects hike in salaries of political office holders. Says Nigerians need pay rise. All right. That's going to be the size of the headlines from the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right. Let's move you now to away from the Daily Times to the Nation newspaper. All right. So the big story here says Nigeria projects $1 billion in trade investment from Japan summits. All right. We hope that's not just going to end in principle. 11 discos owing Federation account 2.6 trillion naira. Rotimi Pedro is NCAG. We brought you that earlier yesterday as well. Ladoja's coronation as 44th Olubadan fixed for September 26. Incidentally, those are the headlines we have for you, and that's what we'll call it a wrap here on the newspaper review segment of the program. Up next will be Social Bars with Ogochukwu Mobuno. And we do hope you take our time to read up these details for yourself as well, so you can stay ahead of the news.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, my viewers. You're welcome to Social Buzz on Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu. It's a good day to look at what's buzzing on the internet. A recent report has shown that 1 in every 4 paternity tests conducted in Nigeria returned negative results in the past 1 year, implying that 1 in every 4 presumed fathers are not the biological parents, according to the 2025 annual DNA testing report released by Smart DNA Nigeria. I don't know what to say about this, although I have one of my colleagues here in the studio, but before we go into the discussion proper, I would like to take comment from social media as this issue on ground. And the first comment is coming from St. Idis, and St. Idis says, he says, who is surprised? The dating system is crap. The women feel entitled and the men think money is the way to the woman's heart. Everyone is confused and manipulating each other, and everyone wants to settle for comfort and not exactly what they love. Of course, it will be bound to it's bound to happen, and that's how he ends his comment. The next comment is coming from Osoria Asibo, and Osoria says, "This is a poor conclusion. Anyone seeking a DNA test already suspects foul play. How can you equate these 4 men with just any random 4 men? That sounds completely uninformed." He said, "They were not a random pick. It's like arresting 4 Yahoo boys, and after investigation, you discover that 1 was innocent. Then you conclude that 3 out of every Nigerian boy is a Yahoo boy. Can you see how dumb you sounded?" Anyways, I'm guessing right that this last person is actually a lady. Well, these are the comments we have for you today, and I have someone, like I said earlier. Good morning, Ramsey.
Yes, good morning, Mobuno. Are you surprised? I was just laughing all through.
Okay. So I'm sure you follow the story, and I'm sure you must have also seen the story because it's what is buzzing right now on the internet about the whole paternity and DNA tests, concerning, fathers, And I'm so happy that you're a father here, and I would like you to drop your thoughts on this particular topic.
First of all, thank you, Ogochukwu Mobuno. But then, what is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear of DNA? It means there is a suspicion somewhere, and maybe a foul play has been suspected. That calls for DNA. Is this my child? Where did she get it from? Where did he get it from? That is where it gets started. But what will you say in a climb where what they call hookup is now becoming like a career for some persons? And this hookup of a thing, it is not particular to a set of people. Anyone who feel, well, I need to make some sharp hustle. They call it hustle. But then, with that situation, we are bound to have cases like this, especially for people who are married and who are not really faithful to their spouses. You are bound to have situations like this. But the comments for me, everybody have their perspective to the situation, and everyone have said what they wanted to say. Well, you can't just run conclusions, but then you look at some things and you feel, well, why did this happen and why must this happen? When you see the toad jumping in the daylight, surely there's a cause. It's after, whether it's after something or something is after it. So it's true.
Okay. So I'm just going to pick some questions from the first comment we read from St. Idis, and he said, who is surprised? He said, the dating system in Nigeria crap. The women are feeling entitled. So I just want to ask a question. Do you really think it's from the dating system? Do you think the women are really feeling entitled like he actually said? Because he feels like, okay, the women are entitled, so the men knows that money draws them. So do you think the whole problem actually is from the dating system?
Well, the dating system in the first place, why do you go into dating? All right? Why do you want to date? If you're dating, where is the limit line being drawn? Because most times, by the time you get into it, first of all, getting into it might be somehow juicy and all of that. By the the time you get into it, you begin to see what is contained in there. When boundaries are being crossed, there are certain things that you must expect. They are inevitable. But then, everyone who goes into dating go for a reason. And like we're talking about this DNA paternity test just now. If you're dating someone, the money is a factor. Money is a factor in dating. That's true. Because do Nigerians, let me ask, please, respond, drop your comment there. Do people really date for love these days? I don't know. In these days, people do it because of the money that is being involved. And some look at it as in, well, I'm doing it, I'm into, I don't have a job, I did it.
But don't you, okay, let's even, we're deviating a bit based on the comment. Okay, so don't you think money is very necessary when it comes to dating? I think it helps. How can you start dating someone you have that has nothing, nothing?
If you're dating somebody that has nothing, you have your reason. I don't think there is anybody that has nothing. Okay, you may not have money, but you have something. Okay. You may not have
I'm not even talking about intellect. I'm not talking about all of that. Okay, some people you see them to say, I might not have the money right now, but I have vision. Is it vision that will do it?
No, these ladies who date now, majority of them date for money's sake. And
that's because the men flaunt it around them.
Let me tell you something. The reason why this DNA test even happens sometimes is a lady is dating someone. Maybe she loves someone, but the guy is broke. Then she have this other guy that she's dating that is rich.
Has money.
She gets pregnant from the other guy who is broke and take the child to the other guy who is rich.
Yeah.
You see, but then at the end of the day, the guy begin to discover, wait, when did this thing happen last? How is this? The guy begin to cut 1 or 2, and man, I think that is need for a DNA test.
Wow, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ramsey. I really enjoyed this conversation, and if we have to drag it, we won't leave here today. But I know you have your thoughts, you have whatever it is you want to say. Please drop it using the social media now showing on your screen. Please be part of this conversation. I am Ogoch Kumobno, and Global Morning continues.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and
well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
when Ramsey and Ogochukwu Mohuna were having that conversation about paternity fraud, and this new report that now says that 1 out of 4 siblings are not biologically fathered child. I chuckled a little. That was me trying to resist a laugh because this is something that's been here for a while. At the point, Nigeria was ranked the 3rd nation in terms of paternity fraud across the world. That was sometime in 2021. But hopefully today we're doing better than that. But this is not just a Nigerian problem. It's a human factor.
That's true.
All right. Even though, yes, we have to domesticate the problem to be able to find our sincerity of purpose and the will to address it. Otherwise, it's a human being problem.
That's true.
It's not a national issue, particularly so. But then again, it means that we have to realize we must take responsibility for the kind of families we want to raise and the kind of people we want to raise those families with. Is very important, all right? In pidgin parlance in this part of the world, we say they know person finish, all right? But then there must be a measure of knowing that you have about somebody. That's number one. Number two is every human being on earth has a history, even though we can never be able to wrap our heads around everything. Everybody has a history, and how people behave today is essentially a function of their history. It's very important. If Ramsey, for example, is a science-inclined person, for instance, he has followed sciences very diligently from high school all through university, his research, his reading interest, everything, center, I remove that history. It also means that when you meet people, when you date people, and who knows, maybe ultimately marry them, their history counts. We're not saying lots of people's history and ask them what they had for lunch on the 16th of August 1993. No, we're only saying that they are key indicators. They are red flags. The problem with red flags is that human beings will always overlook them way off with the left hand just because there is a need.
Well, I think before we came up, from the backstage, I heard someone say something like, well, even if it must happen, probably it could be the first child. And I was like, how did you arrive at this?
Right. How
scientifically proven is this belief?
Right.
And the person was trying to explain, it's like, yeah, some persons when we want to get married, but this is someone else you've been with for several years that you know the in and out of. Right. Now leaving the person is proven to be difficult in a way. Then you were like, some fast runs can happen before you go. Are you just going to leave me like that? Those their languages. Then something happened, and leaving your wedding reception, right. The rest is history. Talking about to know how the moon is and all of that. Right. Going to the moon, I don't know how they call it.
And then someone has to bring the honey.
Someone has to bring the honey and all of that. Right. Then at the end of the day, something happened. There is a relationship. Right. You get late with yourself that night, not knowing that this same lady, all right, have already had an interaction with the eggs, which has already gone very far to hit the egg up there, right. And something is already happening. Then this innocent man comes up. I'm just trying to bring the person's explanation now why they feel it's mostly the first child, and the other man who is legally married and happily wedded is already doing his thing, and as usual, well, she took in our first month and all of that, the celebration, the jubilation is on, not knowing that child is somebody else's child. Then you just continue. You wouldn't even suspect, right. Because the lady had not come to your house yet. So you've not started thinking of, how is she moving? How is it? That's the first child. So a lot of people will overlook it.
And the last few months really have had you consumed in wedding preparation. So wedding plans have taken the bulk of your time.
The bulk of your time.
So you really don't have that latitude to begin to look at who is with who, where has she gone to, and things like that. And sometimes it could even be a random guy, which makes it a bit more interesting. But this is becoming more like a debate now. But beyond that, there's the biological aspect of the program this morning. I'm thinking, how do you explain to a 21-year-old child, for example, that, look, we need to talk, all right?
Hi.
And we need to talk. And, well, everybody's interested. Everybody wants to talk. But then at this point in time, there's the eagerness to hear you talk and to hear what you've got to say. And then you say, well, I know this is going to come strange to you. I know this is not what you expect to hear, but we need to set the record straight. Let's just be clear. We love you, we care about you, and we're ready to do anything for you. We love you to the moon and back. But you see, there's something that we need to straighten out as a family, so we can continue to love ourselves the way we've done the last 21 years.
I love this script.
I
love this scripting. The way you're saying it. I'm just envisaging as if somebody is sitting, a child is sitting in your front right now and is listening. But this thing that you just said, do you know that psychologically, it has the potential to calm someone down to really listen to whatever it's going to be, even though there's going to be some bit of disappointment.
Right, and the trauma it causes for the child in question, in some cases children, just executive who actually had a similar issue was calling of having an affair with a married woman, and the rest is history maybe, but then the impact of such relationships are hardly a matter of history. There are more issues of devastating impacts. Right?
And it's worse when we have married people involved in it. And that's where the money factor comes in.
Right.
Well, can't take care of us, so I need to do something. I need to hustle. They call it hustle.
Right.
But then, why not hustle the right way?
Well, Ramsey has a piece of advice for you. There's nothing wrong with you hustling, but you've got to hustle the right way. So let's take a quick break, everyone. When we return, we'll turn our attention to the outcome of the by-election in Edo State and what the conversation has now become today. All right, everyone. Thank you so very much for staying with us here on Global Television. Global Morning continues now as we turn our attention to Edo State in light of the by-elections that took place there on August 16th, last Saturday. And today we're understanding that, well, the dynamics have shifted somewhat in terms of the way politicking happens in the state. There have been a bit of alignments and realignments, and then we're also seeing now that the governor has been tested in some sense of the word in terms of the outcome of this election. There are those before the election who have said that it will be a litmus test for Governor Monday Okpebholo, given that he is now the leader of the APC in the state, and as such, the Edo Central Senatorial District election and the Ovia Federal Constituency election will be a test of his leadership and ability to bring in the goods for the All Progressives Congress. But the question is this indicative of how much of more success it could bring in going into the 2027 general election? And back at home as well, how much does this strengthen his base and give him more leadership latitude as the Chief Executive Progressives Congress, Comrade Haruna Brimo? Haruna, thank you for defying the bad traffic this morning to be on the program.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
All right, great. So let's go to your home state where you making your own contribution to politics and leadership. Election has happened there already.
Of course.
Your party carried the day, both for the senatorial and for the House of Representatives seats. What lessons has this taught the APC in those states, and what have been the gains beyond the fact that you won at the ballots?
It's an opportunity for us to sit back as a party and in the midst of the jubilation and happiness, we should learn from the humble, dedicated, and committed leadership of Governor Monday Okpebholo, because electoral victory has a direct relationship with the leadership delivery of whoever is in the charge of affairs, either in the state, local government, or in the country. You understand my point?
Right.
If Okpebholo was not doing well, delivering the dividend of democracy, within the last 8 to 9 months, we jubilate regarding the electoral victory. If you doubt, let me cast my back that during the 2024 governorship election, of which the Governor Okpebholo was a candidate, this same senatorial district could not deliver him. We have 5 local governments in the senatorial district.
That's Edo Central.
Edo Central, Eastern West, Eastern Central, Eastern Northeast, and Eastern Southeast, and Lingwebe. APC, its own party, had only 2 express winning across 2 local governments. The opposition had 3 local governments.
That's
the PDP. So it's supposed to be hit out you from the days of Oshomole. It's a battleground, it's a PDP stronghold. So the only way Governor Okpebholo could have achieved this feat within 8 months is a reflection on the quality of leadership as far as practical governance is concerned in Edo State and that have been going on. From the education sector to health sector to road infrastructure to agriculture. And we keep emphasizing that with all this practical governance delivery, Okpebholo is the man to beat. Right now, he's Maradona of APC in Nigeria politics.
Even ahead of governors who have been here longer than him.
I'm telling you, because what he's done in 8 months, Obaseki could not arguably. We can argue it.
Obaseki was,
we can
he didn't leave office as an APC governor. I thought you were just opposing him with APC governors.
No.
Obaseki is not even in office anymore.
You know, there are a lot of governors that have not delivered what he's done.
Even 7 governors.
I was with him. I went with the governor to Udoni community, his own village. He casted his vote in my presence. And after casting his vote, we went around Uwesa, which is Edo, which is the entire, across the local government. We went to Uromi, visiting projects, even on election day, inspecting and seeing the nature of ongoing projects. I saw a large farm that runs in hectares. that Edo State government have committed resources and partner with investors, agricultural investors, that is ongoing. Is it about the 250 international modern 20-bed international modern hospital that is being constructed? I was there. I'm going to talk about the road infrastructure that is connecting the entire Esan Central from the rural area to the major local government headquarters, having access to pipe-borne water. That is the only pipe-borne water that I can see in recent years in Edo State. I'm not talking about borehole water, pipe-borne water. That project was completed for reticulation in 2018 and handed over to Edo State government. And they abandoned it. They could not reticulate it. Within 8 months, Upewolo reticulated it. It's in his senatorial district. You think those people will not vote for him? Leadership, practical governance. Word of Esan West, Ekpoma. We have few days to the election. He has approved the construction of another extra 500-bed hostels to ameliorate the suffering of students that does not have accommodations in the Abu Saleh University. Those children, those students, they have parents in that locality. They will definitely vote. Are we going to talk about the subvention that he gave to the school of 500 million from 41 million money that was being given by the former administration? Now he's giving them 500 million. What of the teachers that were hold 35 months, 28 months before? He cleared them, and they were even being suspended for agitating for their pay, for protesting, for picketing against the government, the past administration. They were suspended. He reinstated all of them. Those tax teachers that were on a stipend of 39,000 as contractors that were never recruited, and some of them not from the Edo Central, the same Esan land. They have parents. They can vote. They have wives. They have relations that they will tell the good news. The bursary allowance that he has given to Edo students, and the Esan people not going to benefit from it. 1 billion bursary allowance. So, it's practical essence, governance is what everybody. That is what we are learning. That anything you can have political gains only when you deliver to the people. Across the political divide, it's not limited to APC. There's nobody that does not like progress. Upewolo has brought progress to Edo State in general. And this election became a litmus test to show how much he has given back to the sectoral industry that produced him. This project they are countless. I was in Esan West, I was in Esan Central, I was in Esan Northeast. I can count from across villages. You see road projects be completed, you see the ongoing project. Are we talking about the State School of Nursing and Science and Technology School under construction right now in Uwesa? And it's linking villages by roads. There's a road now that is going to be connected from Mudoni. It's going to be connected to, from Ishan, connected to Esako West. It's going to come out in Jagbe. Jagbe is in Esan West.
All right.
So a lot of all these counted for the victory. Look at the victory. It's almost 95%.
Okay, so you have just brilliantly listed the achievements of this governor within a matter of 8-9 months in office, which any right-thinking person will say, look, this is commendable.
Highly commendable.
And then there are also people watching this morning who will say, look, this doesn't get past an amazing piece of public relations efforts. But then, if we go back to Edo State, there are those, especially from the opposition, now saying that that election, especially in Ovia Federal Constituency, was marked by violence. For example, I mean, let's put context to this. Comrade Destiny Nabulele, who of course was a local government chairman in Ovia Southwest, a one-time member of the State House of Assembly there, a member of the PDP now says that he was molested, he was beaten on the orders of APC leadership in the state by operatives of the Department of State Services. That's his allegation. As a matter of fact, he has taken a legal option in that regard. Here discuss this election and its outcome and not take into cognizance the fact that there has been violence in the process.
Even from the electionary process to the election, we all watch it on television. The campaigns, it was each free, it was violence free. Even up to the elections, I told you I was practically...
Even on election day?
Of course, like in the senatorial election in Asia. Did you hear anybody coming out to say there was violence here, or the opposition party saying they were molested in Edo Central? So the allegation from the Ovia Federal Constituency is still, it remains allegation. But it's, if you look with a cursory look at what Enabulele is saying, or the allegation is alluded to or is making, involving the DSS makes it somehow. This is not political thuggery. That you are saying molested you. What kind of molestation is he talking about? What were you doing? What have you done wrong that will make the security operative feel? Because the reason for the security operative being present in the voting center or throughout the electionary process is to make sure everybody is doing due process and following the right process, isn't it?
Okay, so you're saying that.
So he has not been able, though he has taken it to court, or he said he's threatening. I don't know if he has gone to court. You said he's threatening to take.
No, I said he has taken legal option.
He has taken legal option. Let it sue the DSS. Then the DSS will let Nigerians and people know what led to whatever issue that happened that the fact he was molested. Because the whole election is free. You saw the Sama of Benin Kingdom, a founding member of the PDP, a man that even you've not seen in recent years coming out to vote at his age of more than 90 years. He rode down to his village, Benin. From Benin to Ovia is more than 1 hour to cast his vote. Yeah, some people may say his daughter is in the ballot. You understand? But that is not enough. It just shows you the overwhelming support that the Okpebholo and the Nsidausan-led administration is having in Edo State across the divide. Edo are very unique people. You know, remember, we are very progressively conservative. We don't always join the bandwagon. We have the capacity to x-ray into issue with unbiased assessments, regardless of the political divide. And when they take a stand, they take a stand. No rightful thinking politician or a voter in Edo State today who directly or indirectly is seeing what is going on in Edo State. You know, a lot of projects across education, SME, rural empowerment that is going on in Ovia, that has been going on since this and came. Remember some of the schools that were removed started from Ovia when the governor during campaign saw some of those schools at in squalors and dilapidated. And the former school we started with is remodeling and reconstruction. And we're going to talk of the Ekenwa Road extension, the road that is ongoing. What are the one that is connected from Siloko? Now in Ovia Federal Constituency. The people are seeing some of these projects. And you think they will not. The only way a voter will say thank you to a performing government is through voting for such government.
Okay, let's talk about the politics of all of this now. Of course, a lot has happened recently in terms of politics in the country. Edo State has not been an exception, right? As of today, for instance, the ADC, or if you like, call it the coalition, is also trying to find its foot in the state, especially looking at the 2027 general election, which is not far flung. Almost Benedict, up until not too long ago, had been a member of the PDP. As a matter of fact, the first time she tested the waters, in a manner of speaking, in the House of Representatives, it was on the platform of the PDP. Of course, she has moved now to your party, the All Progressive Congress. We've seen also a plethora of defections recently, one party to the other and vice versa. As of today, for example, talk to our viewers as to how this last by-election has redefined the political landscape in the state.
For me, it has given us the opportunity to make a resounding statement and put the footing on ground. It has really strengthened the footing of the governor. If you look at the whole scenario, where is ADC in Edo State in the last election? At least this election should have been able to show their strengths as a new coalition group or a new group who felt, quote unquote, they were hungry for power, you know. But the performance of the Edo State governor, led by Senator Monday Okpebholo, is just too much for any coalition or opposition to play with in Edo State. As it is today, Edo is fully progressive APC state. Let's take it. Because you look at the gap, 100,000, 105,000 against 50,000. That's more than 90% winning. It's not contestable. You take such results. If you notice, even across the nation, we had by-elections across states, from to State to Kano State to Katsina to Adamawa. You saw the performance of the APC. What does that tell you? When the cacophony of group of people on social media make noise, you would think every other thing does not. This government has not done anything, especially at federal level. But the reality speaks for itself. You may say there are some projects here and there that have dilapidated and all that. What of the ones that have been done by the same APC-led governments?
Yeah, there are people who are saying that...
and that is what is showing in the...
I want to talk about the political process.
Okay.
I mean, especially with your party. There are those who are uncomfortable with the emergence of Honorable Omosi Igbenedion, because they say she's a newcomer into the APC. There are people who were far more, if you like, eminently qualified to have been given that ticket. All right, people who have worked for the party, slaves for the party, even when the AP had not become what it is today in Edo State and all of that. I mean, they paid the price, they rolled up their sleeves to work for the party at grassroots and all the way up and all of that. How has that affected your party before, during, and after the electoral exercise?
I don't think there's any challenge with that in our party right now. You know, APC is an interesting party, one of the strongest in Nigeria today, not resting on its oars of progress, but it has the capacity to manage crisis, internal crisis, and that is one of the strongest mechanisms it has developed over time. There's no crisis in APC in Edo State. Omosi Igbenedion came into APC after the primaries of PDP last year, where she was disappointedly deceived or betrayed by the former governor of the state, because she was promised to be the deputy governor to Asogudalo. And she stepped down on primaries day. We all watch it on television, but she stepped down. After stepping down, hoping that she would be the first female deputy governor candidate, she was betrayed, and the ticket of the deputy governorship candidacy was given to
Saudi
And she approached, or let me say APC pushed on that opportunity, you know. And they had agreements at the national level. Remember how the campaign took place at the national level with Ganduje? Agreement is agreement.
So do you think that will pacify people who believe that Okpe will have brought Omosi to checkmate the deputy governor?
No.
There's that theory as well. So how do we speak? How do you?
I'm just going to explain to you how she came in, because you cannot tell me that all this the deputy governor was not aware.
But he's helpless. On that level, he's helpless.
Being a deputy governor, she candidate in that same election was aware of every process that brought every decamping from PP then to the party.
So it was not a ploy to undermine him?
No. One of the bases of the agreement that brought Omosi Igbenedion first to APC was on the ground that he will be allowed to contest for the primaries of the House of Rep, because normally you have to stay a particular period in a party for you to be qualified to vie for political position under the platform of such party. You understand? Being a smart politician, she used that to negotiate that if I'm coming to this party, I hope in the forthcoming election, you give me a waiver, which the constitution of the party provided for. And that agreement was even made before she decamped, that she will be granted a waiver to participate in the primary. And she participated in the primary. She was not handpicked. She was not selected. She won the primary. She was not imposed. The funny things about politicians is when they see the truth, they still do a lot to do their own thinking. If I can be aware of this, you as a contestant ought to also be aware and respect that arrangement that the party has made. That's what is killing the opposition today. Non-respecter of agreements within their parties.
And you politicians say agreement is agreement, right?
Exactly. What just happened, just like Okadibo said in 2003 during the ANPP presidential primary in Eagle Square. What happened in the Obasanjo scenario is called political trigonometry. Go and get the formula of trigonometry in mathematics. You will understand what I'm talking about.
So how do we narrow that down?
Yes, now using the, because I just told you how he came to the party, how she came to the party.
She negotiated her way into the party.
She negotiated her way.
And there was a deal.
And there was a deal. If I'm bringing XYZ support for you to garner more votes for the governorship position, because remember, APC was in opposition in 2024. We needed every good hands to win the governorship election. So it now depends on how you negotiate your way. How smart are you in political negotiation? Nobody is against the other contestants who felt it is their constitutional right to contest. But they should not be against the party, because the party also have the functionality to go into agreements or to sustain or to implement an agreement reached with those who have come to the party.
All right. I think
that is the trigonometry I'm talking about.
Okay.
You have your right to contest. Just as any newcomer, the party can decide to grant waiver to a newcomer to also contest. So if you don't win, if the person that is coming new is more popular than you, or has the political wherewithal to drive you out, to skin you out, to scheme you out, to win you off the race, then you should take it.
All right. So the best man wins.
Of course.
All right. Great. Thank you for coming to share this with us
Thank you
this
very
morning.
much.
We appreciate it. I've been talking with Aruna Brahma. He's a staunch supporter of Governor Monday Okpebholo of Edo State, as well as a member of the All Progressives Congress. The by-elections have become a talking point the last couple of days, as is always the case. But going forward, politicians in this country and indeed Nigerians now have their eyes on the next big one, which is the general election cycle in 2027.
We are winning it.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
What is your problem? What's your problem? Prime Minister is on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Well, the discussion concerning elections is not something that will end anytime soon. But then, as we progresses, moving towards 2027, we are still going to have a lot of election issues, politicking, and of course, grievances coming from election results and all of that. Well, we're still waiting for what will happen after the by-election. Certificates will be given. People who are not satisfied with the result of the election, especially from places like Edo, where we're already hearing ADC and PDP saying, well, that election was marred by some inconsistencies from the beavers. All of this will be unfolding. Now to the second conversation, where Jide Ojo, a development expert and public affairs analyst, will be joining us as we look at bridging the gap in our educational sector as it has to do with educational development. Digital gap, so much in our educational sector, and this is something that is what we're about, because oftentimes a lot of people complain about the situation in our educational sector, in the education sector, what is happening. And of course, one of the areas that we need to seriously look at is the area of digital skills. How many of the teachers, especially in public schools, have a digital skill? How many of them know what to do, how to use appliances? Teaching method have changed. Gone are those days when we are face to face with a blackboard, you know, a white chalk and a blackboard, and you need to use a duster to clean the board. At the end of the day, you see some students going home are very dirty, but then the skills that we need in the digital world is something that can be learned, and of course, if resources is being channeled in that direction. And of course, Jide Ojo will be joining us as we talk about bridging the gap in the digital skills. And of course, he is a